What's up, guys? So today I just kind of wanted to do a video on the top modifications I'd recommend doing on your 03-04 Cobra. So this video is going to have two parts to it. The beginning part is going to be if your car is relatively stock or bone stock, and I'm going to recommend some mods for that. And then the second part will be some more advanced mods. So if your car is already modified, which a lot of these cars have already been modified by the previous owners. So yeah, so basically I'm just gonna start out with if your car is relatively stock. A lot of the first things people like to do is do a smaller supercharger pulley. These mods aren't in any particular order or anything like that, so you could mix and match the order you wanna do these in. But a lot of people, me included, switch to a smaller supercharger pulley on the supercharger. So you're basically just overspinning the supercharger, creating more boost, and then obviously making more power. So I bought a billet flow 2.76 smaller supercharger pulley, and then also when you do upgrade to a smaller one, you're going to want to get an auxiliary idler to avoid any belt slip. So you can see it really creates a lot of tension, so you basically eliminate any belt slipping that you're going to get. So definitely get an idler as well. And then while you're at it with the supercharger pulley, if you don't already, you might as well do a cold air intake or a throttle body. Mine's still the stock throttle body, but at least do a cold air intake on it as well. And then what you really want to do is you don't want to just buy an off-the-shelf tune from Bama or something like that. You're going to want to go get your car, go get it a custom dyno tune. That way you know your car is tuned perfectly. I wouldn't trust just some off-the-shelf tune. So definitely get it custom dyno tuned. All right, so another thing that I would definitely recommend doing if your car doesn't have it already, which like I said, a lot of the cars are gonna have this, but definitely do a catback exhaust. So definitely give it, because from the factory they're very quiet. So I would definitely upgrade the exhaust. I put a Bassani mufflers on mine, so definitely upgrade that. It'll make the car sound a lot better. Your supercharger is going to be a lot louder with the smaller supercharger pulley, so I would definitely recommend doing that. Is definitely upgrading your shifter in the car. I have an MGW original orange handle in my car. That's one I recommend. There's a bunch of other companies that make shifters, but it's nice and short, very stiff. Feels really good. I really like it a lot. So that's something definitely. The stock shifter is very, very long and kind of weird shaped. So definitely upgrade the shifter in the car. Another thing that I like a lot is upgrading on the rear bumper here, the Cobra letters. These are just a black vinyl insert that I bought. There's a bunch of other people that make like American flag ones. Some are like that, like a metal, like a brushed metal. I don't know if I like that. I like just the vinyl that just sticks right in there. That's really nice. But yeah, so there's a bunch of places you can get these from, but I went with black, the more just classic look. Because from the factory, I'll show some pictures of what it looks like from the back without them. It just kind of looks plain, and that really makes the Cobra letters pop out. So, okay, so those are just some really basic bolt-on mods that a lot of people have already done to your car. So most of you guys might have those already done. So I'm gonna talk about some of maybe the more high-end mods that are gonna cost a little bit more than just those simple things. But to start out is definitely address the independent rear suspension on the car. From the factory, they come with rubber bushings, and if you've watched any videos on Cobras or driven one, you know that they wheel hop really bad from the factory, especially once you upgrade your engine's horsepower. You're gonna be putting more power to the wheels, and I'll show some clips of some wheel hop if you guys don't know what that is. So when upgrading the IRS, I went with Full Tilt Boogie Racing. They're kind of the top-notch guys in the IRS game. So they make some really good Delrin bushings, and then the differential bushings are solid aluminum. And after After having them in the car, it's ridiculous. My wheel hop was completely gone, and the car rides a lot nicer. Going around corners, you kind of really feel where the rear end is on the car, where before it was kind of a mystery on what the IRS was doing, just because of all that slop and the rubber bushings were doing. And so upgrading, that's probably one of my favorite mods I did to the car. It really changed the way it drives, and yeah, I can't say anything better about the bushings. So I definitely recommend doing that. If your car, especially if your car's got a lot of horsepower, the car is way more controllable and all that stuff. So another thing that I highly recommend doing, especially if you have a convertible, is doing subframe connectors. Full length weld-in subframe connectors. Absolutely recommend doing those. It stiffens because this is basically a Fox body chassis, and it really stiffens up the whole car. There's no more flexing. You go over railroad tracks, you don't feel the car flex at all. The car feels much more planted, more stiff, more rigid. So definitely get some subframe connectors. Another thing I would recommend, which like I said, a lot of the cars have done this already, but definitely get some lowering springs. Get the car lower from the factory. The car looks like a 4x4 pickup truck, so definitely get some lowering springs. I have H&R race springs in mine, and then I have Bilstein heavy duty shocks and struts on there. You don't necessarily have to replace, but I was replacing everything in the IRS, so I wanted to eliminate any possible wheel hops, so I went ahead and upgraded the struts and shocks. Another thing, when you do lower your car, you're going to want to get some caster camber plates so you can get your car properly aligned. It's impossible to get the car aligned without them when you lower the car, so you're going to have to invest. These are from Maximum Motorsports. Definitely get yourself a set of those when you do lower the car. Another thing, which this is going to be subjective as far as wheels go, I like the stock Cobra wheels, but 17 inches is just too small, at least on this car in my opinion. So I upgraded to an 18-inch Celine style with black. I like black and red together. So I upgraded to 18s. You don't necessarily have to obviously upgrade your wheels, but definitely if you're lowering and everything like that, next would definitely be tires, because if you have some street tires like Nittos or anything like that, like Nitto 555s or anything like that, what I used to have, the car is definitely dangerous. You basically have no grip first, second, and kind of third. You really have no grip if you have the smaller supercharger pulley, or if you have an upgraded supercharger, you know, you're going to be spinning those rear tires. So I went with Toyo R888s. That's kind of an extreme tire to go with. It's definitely not a rain tire. I did a review on them, but definitely not a rain tire or anything like that. It's a nice day tire, which the car is just a nice day car. So that's just something to consider. These tires are extremely grippy though, and they're awesome. So I definitely recommend doing those. So lastly, that I would recommend as another modification to do is I just upgraded my brakes to the Full Tilt Boogie Racing 14-inch 4-piston Willwood setup. The factory brakes, if you guys have ever driven any modern car and then driven your car again, know that the stock Cobra brakes are absolutely terrible. So upgrading to the Willwoods was really awesome. This is their pretty affordable kit. This isn't like a $4,000 kit. Yeah, I really, the braking performance you get out of these for the price is absolutely ridiculous. So another kind of, you know, more intense mod I would say is definitely upgrading the clutch. From the factory, the Cobras have an insanely stiff clutch. It's kind of obnoxious how stiff it is. I went to a McLeod. I went to a twin disc, a McLeod RST, and it's so much better than the factory one. And I'll show you guys if you guys have a Cobra, you know that this is pretty much impossible unless you're like some crazy person, but I can literally push it in with my hand. It's still stiff, it's got a lot of feel to it still, but it's so much lighter, and it just really makes a huge difference. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, a thumbs down. Definitely consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot, guys. And I appreciate you guys watching all my videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.